Paper got them talking nice to me. Down the bottle, it be going right through me. Brown baby down to take a flight to me. They think that I'm stunting, but it's slight to me. Piling paper got them talking nice.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is up, everyone? Happy Tuesday. You know what it is. It's Club Collab night. I'm Max Jimenez, and I got my co-host over here on this side.
You
Right.
practiced, bro. You knew what side I was on. Yeah, what's up?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Club Collab. Again, we're excited to be here tonight. We have a really great show tonight. I know I say that all the time, but man, every time that we get a guest to come on, I feel like it's always a great show. Especially tonight. I met Ray a couple years ago. No, maybe longer than that, I believe. We'll have to touch base on that. I've known Ray for quite a while,
longer
and
than a couple years ago, bro.
yeah, we have. Yeah, and but man, I love his story. Story of redemption, story of struggle, story of success, and low key under the radar, but the guy knows his stuff, and we're gonna get him to talk all about what he's doing. One thing I want to remind everyone: this is a live show, so do ask your questions. Have your questions ready because your mind's gonna be blown tonight with my very good friend, our very good friend, Ray Spencer. He's got some great things to share, man. I'm so glad that he said yes to come on. He's an extremely busy person, extremely busy business owner and entrepreneur, doing some great things. So excited to have him on here. Before we bring him on, I want to make a couple announcements. January 28th, I'm going to be in Los Angeles. So if you're interested on that, what's called the Deal Maker Summit. So we're going to be out there for one day only on Saturday. We're going to be at the event. Going to be speaking at the event, so we're looking forward to some of you. Yeah, it's going to be intense. We got some great speakers, great lineup, and it's been put on by our great friends Alex Camacho and Will Wall. Definitely excited about that one. And then the second thing is we are still looking. Ryan, you want to talk about? We are still looking for one or two more pieces for our team. So you want to hit on that a little bit?
Yes, let's go. We are looking, like Max said, two more perfect fitting pieces to come aboard. People who are looking to enhance their real estate career, maybe who have already done some deals or haven't really got off the ground, but just need that, that team camaraderie, need that team atmosphere, need a little bit of training, hands-on. We are looking for you. You can reach me directly on IG. You can DM me directly. There's actually a link in my link tree. Excuse me. If you click the link tree in my bio, you will see a link to even apply. But before you apply, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. DM me direct at Real Ryan Overcash. Let's talk about it, and let's see if again there's a place for you to fit on the team.
Yeah, guys, I want to say this really quick. Like, this is a great opportunity because we don't hold nothing back, right? When we have a saying here, and I don't know if you guys heard this before, but you don't work for us, you work with us. And people that work with us before have gone on to be very successful just because we hold nothing back. So because of that, there is a process that you need to go through to see if you qualify. But we're more than happy to have you go through that process if you are open to it. So anyways, without further ado, I want to bring on my good friend, my good buddy of ours, Mr. Ray Spencer. What up, baby? How you doing, Ray?
Love it, dog. What's going on?
Not much, bro. Excited to have you, man. Thank you for being on, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm out running around, so
all good, bro. All good. It's you've been busy the last couple of months, man. It's amazing to see the things you're doing. And we'll get a little bit into that a little bit later. But man, you've been busy. Happy New Year, by the way, brother. I know.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Appreciate it. So, one of the things I typically, when we have our guests come on a Club Collab, obviously, a lot of people know you, but there's always that one person, right, that's watching right now, that's either here on the live or potentially is watching on the replay and, doesn't know who Ray Spencer is, doesn't know the story, Ray Spencer's story. tell us a little bit about who Ray Spencer is, man, and a little bit about your story, and we'll get into a little bit where you're at now. But obviously, that wasn't always the case, like all of us, right?
So I would say to the person listening is, one, I don't know who the hell Ray Spencer is. I'm always trying to define who that person is the next day. So every day I wake up, I'm trying to redefine myself and redefine about who I am and what I can do and what my capacity is. I don't live in the past because my past life is not the best life. Right, I'm trying to get to the current and the future.
Yep.
But for me, I grew up in California and Arizona, back and forth.
Yep.
I've lived in the Bay Area, LA, South Phoenix, West Phoenix. Off and on, I've been in the hood. I've been in the hood for the longest time, and I've been in gangs since I was about 10 years old. And when I was about 14, I went to prison for an armed robbery and served 11 years of my life in prison since 14, all the way till I got out at 26.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
from there, I did a lot of studying. I did a lot of researching when I was in. It took me a little bit of time in prison to cool down. And once I got into the hole, I started to read books. My father, who I don't have a good relationship with, gave me a book called Dean Gracioso book. I had it for years, and I finally read it, and that's when I got my interest in real estate.
Wow.
And I had plans of getting out here to do real estate once I got out, but I had to go get a job.
Yeah.
Stable, and I had to get off parole. So I ended up getting in construction and was in construction for about 8 years. Kind of forgot about the dream of real estate until I got fed up with being in construction and being not living my purpose. When I finally made my 2 weeks notice. In that time, bro, that's where I met. So a lot of people don't know this, right, Max? I don't know if you know this, bro. Right, I don't know if you know this either, but I kind of knew everybody in town. At some point, I was coming out to all the events, getting acquainted with who's who.
Right.
Man, I had closed 2 deals. One was my first deal with Jesse Burrell from Bat. Shout out to Jesse.
Nice.
A good friend of mine. It was the first deal I ever did, and it was a crazy deal. From that, I went to the Disruptors event, and a lot of people don't know, but I had fear of talking to people. And I would go into the Disruptors event, and I would run out.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Really?
You guys are having them. It was like something that McFadden's or something like that. I would go into the events, and the moment I would see people, I'd run straight to hell out the door.
Wow.
And after I did 6 months in this business, I made tons of money. Alex Signs did a challenge to take your family on a vacation. He went to Hawaii. I took all my people that I don't even talk to on a vacation and cruises, and lost my ass in business.
Wow.
And had to do bankruptcy, and I went depressed for a while. Sonia Ray, I posted it not too long ago. Sonia Ray picked me up out of my depression and brought me to an event with you, with Steve. And who was speaking? What's the dude?
Max Maxwell.
Max Maxwell was a speaker. There was like a little hidden event.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I met you guys. And she was like, "You got to meet these guys. They're cool. They're stand-up guys." And I was like, "I don't know. I'm not ready." And she was like, "Ray, you'll be all right. You'll be all right." I still have a picture from that. That was the first time we really met. We hung out that night. And had a fucking good time.
Yeah, that was back, man. That was
That's
back
awesome
like
story.
2020, 2019 or something like that. So
Yeah, that was like 2018.
that was a while back, bro. But no,
he doesn't know numbers, dude.
No, that's amazing, brother. A couple of things you said a lot there, and I love that you said, like, our past doesn't define us, and we look back just to see how far we've come, right? I've always heard that saying. It's amazing. You don't want to look back to define yourself, but you want to look back to see how far you come. And one thing you said about, it's interesting what you said about that you found out about real estate. So that between like when you were serving and then into when you came out and got into construction. So you knew a little bit about real estate during that time. Is that kind of putting that together?
Yeah, I just from reading books. I'm a huge book reader.
Yeah. Okay.
I like good book readers.
Yeah.
That's what helped me survive in prison, and just being who I am today is being a huge book reader and building my own mastermind in my mind.
Got it.
I actually went to an event. I went to a Renatus group,
Oh, okay, right.
and,
I know all
and
about that.
I went
All
to a
about that.
Renatus group. So I had a friend that talked me into going to this event because they seen some bandit signs on the side of the road, and I went to it, and I was sitting in the front row, and this short Jewish guy, right, was sitting in the front, right. I think he's half black, half Jewish. Okay, everybody knows his name.
Yep.
This dude was spitting on me. He had so much energy. I'm in the front row and he's spitting on me. He's talking about real estate and wholesaling, and he's just all hype. Elijah Rubin, right,
Yeah.
is the
Yep.
guy. And I was like, "What is this wholesaling?" I was like, "I got to get in this." I was like, "I'm in." And that was the time I got reacquainted back with um, wholesaling again once I had got out.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Got it. Okay. That's how you got connected. But you were still working at the time, your full-time job, sounds
Yep.
like. Okay, got it. That's amazing. So shout out to Sonia. She's a great, great individual. We've done some deals with her, and so she's an amazing person as well too. Shout out to Elijah Rubin, another great individual. Man, those people you connected with, man, they're great individuals. And I've known Elijah for a long time as well too. But anyways, as far as your progress, so you're asking yourself, what is this wholesaling that this dude's talking about? So is that where kind of did you take that and run with it, or what did you look at it and say, oh, that's not for me yet, or because you were interested it sounded like, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I went through a phase of analyst paralysis for the
Right.
longest period of time. And I remember hitting up. I texted Elijah because he gave me his number, told me to come to his office. I never went to his office. Um, and he told me to get some. He told me to get a CD that was
Mm-hmm.
it was called OTC CD, right? So over the counter tax liens. I
Okay.
did that. I paid the $50, and I pretty much skipped trace and called everybody. Ended up buying a curb. I bought a curb from that list, right?
Mm.
And I never really got back after that because I bought a curb off of there for $100. And I went back to work, and I just didn't come back to the dream until a couple years later.
Hmm. Yeah, it's you said something really crucial about reading books, because and probably you could share the same. I don't know, again, the journey, right? Your journey, like for me, it was, I think it's very important to understand like the how important the mindset shift has to be, right? The mind shift,
Yeah.
excuse me, has to be when you're getting into anything, right, in life, and especially something grueling such as entrepreneurship. Because man, dude, there's it's like if you ever see those memes that have like, this is what the people think entrepreneurship, but this is what it really is, right? Circles and then up and down. So you got into books before you even got into entrepreneurship, and then that's to free your mind, I'm assuming, right, from your current situation when you're at. Are you still a big reader now, right now, up to this point?
Huge.
Okay. What are you reading right now currently?
Oh, I got it right here. Hold on. I got two of them. 1,000 Down Can Make You Rich. Okay. And I got the Due Diligence Handbook for Commercial Real Estate.
Nice.
Current books that I'm reading. So I'm always
Nice.
reading, bro, because it
Yeah.
just takes you to another. It takes you to another. I call it my coach. It's
Yeah.
my personal coach.
Yep.
I can get ideas from the books that I wouldn't get from anywhere else.
Yeah. I love that. And I want to get into that a little bit later, because I think that's really important to people understand. There's many ways that you can, that you can actually be mentored, right? That you can receive mentorship, because one of the biggest mentorships that impacted me, and I'll let Ryan, talk a little bit about it, was Jim Rohn, right? That has been above all from everyone that I learned and everyone that I've listened to. Jim Rohn has the biggest impact, and it was all through audio, right? Through audio and YouTube, right? Jim Rohn, when I discovered Jim Rohn, that's where my biggest mind shift happened, and a lot of the principles, maybe all of them, still apply today. And I want to get into a little bit of that, because you're having, you learn how to do creative on your own, right? I just want to touch that a little bit. You educated yourself, and then you went out and put it in practice, and that's the second piece of being mentored, right? It's not just the ingesting of information, but it's also the output of what you're learning. So when did you get your first deal? When did that happen?
2018, I got my first deal. I was doing that. You want me to explain it a little bit?
Yeah, so like when did you get your first wholesale deal? That's what, after you found out about it and you learned it.
So it was after the event with Elijah. I went back to work for another year. Work kind of moved
Wait,
my way up in
real
construction.
quick, I got a question because it's kind of similar. I went back and forth a little bit, so I'm just curious. Seems like you had a good understanding of real estate, but you kept going back to the W-2. Explain that a little bit. And when you're in the W-2, were you still thinking about real estate? Like tell me what the mind, what you know what I mean? What was going through your mind during that time?
So the process I was going through my mind was I called it. It reminds me of when I was doing. It reminds me of double dutch. You guys know what double dutch is?
Yeah.
Right. With the jump rope.
The hot Scott. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds that because as I'm learning and studying, I'm in this analyst paralysis. I'm just watching the ropes move. I'm watching people close deals. I'm watching people do this, right? And in the meantime, I'm kind of doing my whole, okay, when do I get in? Okay, when do I get in?
I love that analogy.
Right? And at some point, I overthought the process and just never jumped in. Even when I did jump in, right, I failed at it and got caught in the rope. And it made it even harder for me to get back up and jump back in. Now I'm trying to time it at the right time. Do I get it now? Do I not? And it took me through a mental ringer of just kind of overthinking the process. And at this time, I didn't understand failure at this time. And I understand like failure is a catalyst to being successful. Like I don't know where we develop it and at what point in life. But as kids, as we grow up, we stop experimenting, we stop failing, right? We become fearful of failing. And that stops us from really jumping into the game. So I had that as a grown man after years of all type of gangbanging in prison. I still had it in real estate and was terrified of it. And it took me a while to mentally process it. Having the knowledge didn't change anything. It really clicked. Here's when it clicked. I closed a few deals. Okay. 6 deals. I made 80 grand. Nice. I went back to work and filed bankruptcy. Right. And I hired a coach. Brian Pontiano was my coach. And BP was pretty much teaching me all about real estate. So he's like, yo, you got to go to the doorway and put a lockbox on it. I was like, I did that. Right. He's like, now you got to call the buyers. I was like, I did that. Right. So every process he went through, right, he was like, well, what the hell did you hire me for? Right? And I had to think about it. And I'm like, I don't know. Right. I was like, you're the coach, right? You got to tell me what they're like. I hired you to teach me real estate. And he was like, you already know real estate already, bro. Like, what's going on? And that helped him. That helped him create his group, which is the F Your Mindset, right?
Yeah.
Because shout out to my mindset was screwed. I had a messed up mindset.
That's crazy.
You know what's and you're gonna laugh too because you know we all have our own backgrounds. You know how we come up, and Ryan, you know, has a story. I got a story, but I always think about that. Like, man, I didn't have to think twice of going and doing something crazy when I, you know, back like in the past. And then because I had the similar thing, right? It was like, you know, I didn't collaborate enough when I first got started. I was the same thing. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm doing it on my own. And it was somewhat it taught me the grind of this business, but also it extended my learning curve and extended my career. And I wasn't a big reader like you were. You know, I was just starting to, you know, develop, you know, reading and self-development, things like that. And so, but it's interesting to think about that, right? When we look back at the crazy stuff we used to do compared to like making these decisions to go collaborate or take action to do something. When did that start clicking? When did that mind shift start happening for you?
It happened where I had to go back to work. So I was 3 months in. I was 3 months depressed, like not doing anything but playing video games. My girl was like, dude, you gotta get a job. Like we about to lose it. I was just tapped out. I completely just tapped out. And I had a conversation with Brian Pontiano, and I was almost to tears. And I was like, dude, like I gotta go back to work. And he was like, bro, it'll be okay, right? He said, here's the thing. The best thing is you have the knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. He said the best thing is you've tasted success and you realize you have a proven concept and it works for you.
Yeah.
That was key. Right. He was like, you got a proven concept, you know real estate works.
Yeah.
Right. There's some people who haven't got to that point yet. Now that you know it works, you're gonna be thinking different when you go back to work.
Yeah.
I was at work, and about I was there for about a year before
Yeah.
I really came back. I was there for a whole year, and I was just so fed up with like clocking in,
Yeah.
dealing with the bosses, dealing with everything. And I was on my lunch breaks reading books, and they would steal my real estate books, and they would talk crap and be like,
Yeah.
"You'll
Yeah,
never get into real
you're
estate." And
fantasizing. Yeah.
yeah, they would do all that, and
Whoa.
at some point, it just clicked, right? And I made a decision, and here's the decision I made. That's it. Period. Okay. That one decision I made right there is I'm going to do this until I die. Right.
Yeah.
And I made a decision that I don't have a plan B. Going back to work is not an option for me.
Yep.
I've never looked back at that point.
Nice, man.
Dude,
That's
a lot of people needed to hear that, dude. That was awesome.
Guys, drop some fire emojis. That's a
Yeah.
great story. I think, drop some fire emojis, some thumbs up for Ray, man, because I want to hit on something, Ray, really quick, because there might be somebody out there, right, that's thinking like, because you didn't give up, right? You just reset it. And I think what happens a lot of times is that, and I say this on the show consistently, you can ask Ryan about this. Social media messes up a lot of things, waters down a lot of things, because there's some suspect individuals that make that happen for a lot of people. And, just like mindset and you got to take action, like all that stuff's been watered down too much. But the one thing that you said is that you went through that depression, right? For the 3 months, you reset it by going back to work, but you still in the back of your mind, I'm going to be back, but I need to go back to do something. If there's somebody in that position right now that maybe has that mindset that, maybe they're at their ropes, we got Steven says, I needed that. He says that's where he's at right now. What can you tell that person? What helped you to click back into that? What was it? Was it a talk with someone? Was it a talk with Brian Ponciano? What was it? What was that main thing that clicked for you? Or
The main thing that really clicked for me is, one, I had the knowledge. I was so heavily researched.
okay.
Right. And it doesn't take that much. Like, as soon as you know how to do a transaction from A to B,
Yep.
right, in wholesaling, that's all you pretty much need, right?
Got it.
Not only that, I understand failure. So I realize I'm in my infant state of real estate, right?
Mhm.
I think I'm a master, but I'm not, right? So I still got a couple more practices in me. I got some more research. I got some more experience to do. And that helped me shift my mindset, where I couldn't take an L. That's where I was at. I refused to take an L. And I noticed that even though the world was knocking me down 9 times, I just had to get up again. That was it.
Yeah, you basically made that decision, was like, this is it. Like, I'm gonna do it, and then you put the habits behind it, right? I think that's really important, right? You put the habits. Victor says, shout out to my boy Ray, love you, bro, keep it going. Yeah, Victor, man, he's a good dude. I know him for a while too.
I got videos. Me and Vic, we've been cold calling in my house for like the longest time.
Amazing. So let's fast forward it a little bit. We went through the whole transition, right? You had you got your story, things that happened in your life. You got past through that. You went through a couple meetups, and then you obviously had some success, but went back through some failures, which I always tell people, if you think that you can get success without failures, depression, people talking about you, all that stuff, this is not for you. This ain't sunshines and rainbows. That's the first thing that people have to understand, right? Because a lot of people fall in love with the end result, and they don't understand, like, the process is going to chew you up and it's going to spit you out. But it's up to you to get back into those teeth and fight, and that's what sounds like you did. So then, when you got laser focused and now you're like, you made that commitment, did you start getting more deal flows? You started getting more involved? I saw, what was that process now go after that stint?
So for me, I tackled on probably one of the biggest things I had fear in. Right? I had to knock this monster down, and it was door knocking, right? Like, I was terrified to talk to people.
Right.
And open up a door. I remember I watched a podcast with Sean Terry. We had the same thing as a big Navy vet, right? Coming to a door. I had the same thing. So I chose that. And while I'm working 12 hours, I would get into work at 4, get off at 4, drive 2 hours home to pull up a list and go door knocking. And I'd literally pull up to houses, and I would wait to the. Can I cuss on there, Max? Is that?
Go ahead, bro. It be you, bro. Yeah,
All
ever be
right.
you, bro.
I,
Yeah,
I would pull up to the house to the bitch out of me left, right? So I would like inch up to the door, right, and be like, maybe somebody's home. Nah, I'm gonna go back to the car, and I was like, come on, dude, right? Until I got to the point where it was like, I'm just gonna throw a note in the door, and I would throw a note in the door, and I would do this for hours at one door until one point I just realized I'm being stupid, I'm being silly, right? Go knock on the damn door. Like I came too far to get here. Go knock on the door, right? And it took me a while to just get out of my head. I went to go knock on the door, and no one answered, right? So I'm like, whew, okay.
Relief.
Next door, right? Yeah, like next door.
Let's go. I'm on a roll.
Next door. And so this is good for a lot of people because I work 12 hours a day, and I made a decision with myself that this is it.
Yeah.
So I would knock from 6 to 2 to 3 in the morning.
Wow.
Wait, what?
Knock 6 to 2. I would call, if you told me to come back later, I'd come back at like 1, 2 in the morning. And
Wow.
And I got to a point where I was so fearless and so gangster that middle of the night, black guy, Phoenix, Arizona, certain neighborhoods I shouldn't even be knocking in. And the people looked at me like I was absolutely insane, right? But it changed for me because I was knocking out of love.
Yeah.
Right. And people felt that like,
yeah,
like I'm like 2 o'clock, like, hey, you told me to come back a couple hours, right? I didn't go home and go to sleep. Here I am. They're just like, really? I was like, I got to help you out. Like, I got to help you out of the situation. Like, I can't go home.
This is awesome.
I know you're all right. And they just felt it. They super felt it. And that changed for me when I helped the lady out. She was on drugs and got my first door knocking deal after that.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. So you put a purpose behind the work, right? Which is, your passion was like not only to go out and get the deal, but you're like, I'm going to help them because you understood the situation. And that's where most people don't. The
purpose.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. No, you're good.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was just gonna say his purpose, outdrove his fear. In that scenario there.
Yep. And then, you obviously you focus it more on problem solving, right? Where most people mess up, like they go into door knocking or cold calling, whatever it is, with the purpose of getting that deal at a 50 cents on the dollar, right? And without actually understanding what's on the other end, what situation's happening over there. So did you continue door knocking? Was that like kind of your main marketing channel? Yeah.
Yeah, I did that for 6 months. I built 2 door knocking teams to people watching to see it. Shout out to all the people who door knock with me. I built 2 door knocking teams before I took on a job with my buddy doing acquisitions.
Okay. Got it, man. That's amazing. All right. Ryan, did you have something to say?
No, I just think that's awesome, man. Ray, I don't know a lot of your backstory at all. And so I was excited. I didn't get to say that in the beginning. I was excited to, get to know a little bit about your backstory. I had no clue it was going to be, have so much gems, right? So much fire. Like I'm entertained here listening to, what you went through, but more than just entertained, like you're going over some valuable life lessons, bro, that you pushed through and persevered. And those are good lessons that a lot of these people, including myself at one point, I was fearful of. I was on the sideline, and you got to get past that point. And I know Stephen Valencia has already commented. He's a good friend of ours, and he's in a full-time job, and he's working on making that transition too. So you've already seen how you affected him tonight. So I just think this is really cool, man. It's good to hear your backstory and get to know you on a personal level.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, man. I love, I know. So then I want to get into some bread and butter stuff because, I know that you went through, you obviously went through all that. You built door knocking teams, and then you had a pretty big team at one point, I believe, right? You scaled a good operation, I think, at some point. How many team members did you have?
For door knocking, twice. I built many different operations, cold calling, wholesale businesses 2 or 3 times, up, down, going through the whole, I'll train my competition pretty much method for the longest time. So I would say about 2 door knocking teams and 4 different call center businesses. I actually went to Mexico and built 2 call centers.
Wow. That I didn't know. That's amazing, bro. When did you do that, and how'd that happen?
Yeah, do you enjoy that too, by the way?
I enjoy going to Mexico. No, man, it was such a it was a lot. It's just
No,
trying to still
tedious.
do. Yeah, I was training them in person, and sometimes I even drive down and train them at the same time.
Dude,
Drive
that's
down,
commitment. Oh my
paying them
lord.
paying them checks at like two in the morning. I'm in the hood in Mexico, and I gotta pay them for their week pay. So it's,
Of course, you would be at 2 a.m. paying him. And then that got cut off, or is that is no longer on no more? Your
no,
first one?
I shut that down. I want to say right before COVID
Okay,
took a little hit. I had about 12 bilingual VAs that we were pushing, and I cut that off. As soon as COVID hit, I kind of cut that off and started pivoting more into being active on the phone and spending more time with my in-house team.
got it. Okay, that makes sense. Jared says, obviously, you just answered the first part of the question, but he wants to know what was that like? Do you used to have a door knocking team, which you already answered that, and what was it like as far as keeping track of their results?
Uh, for me, Jared, because I'm not really a spreadsheet type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
So my keeping track on you was kind of like pulling up on you and pulling up in your area, seeing what you were doing, and just kind of tracking leads. It was rough, hella rough. Trying to keep track of people because you don't know where they're at, what they're doing, and some people want it, but they don't.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Like some people say they want it, they
They
may
tell you
not.
the right things.
Yeah, they hit you with the sweet butter and up, and
Yeah.
then as you need to have a system that tracks your people for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And hey, real quick, Ray, how big was your team? How big is like a door knocking team when you say that?
I had 10 people.
10 people. Okay.
Yeah, so it was 4 guys with myself, and then 5 ladies.
Better results between one or the other from your perspective?
Yeah, ladies is killers.
That's what I figured. All right. All
Yeah,
right.
ladies is once the girls get it.
Figure it out. It's on, huh?
Yeah, I had a girl who was Venezuelan and very suave. Like her
Oh.
the way she flowed, man, to the door. She was killer. She was a waitress who went outdoor knocking. And man, she would get the doors of like the worst people and lock up contracts. It was
Wow.
like it's like yeah, she just kind of like her. She had a little suave about her. You know, she did. Girls liked her. Guys loved her, whether they're married or not. And she would always get
Yeah.
into the door. Like she was the killer that I would sit in and be like, "Yo, go knock that
Nice.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
Jared has a
one."
follow-up question. Is Ray, what's your biggest lesson up to now?
Jeez.
My biggest lesson right now is don't quit. Ever. Like if this is what you
Right.
sign up for, there's no L's. There's championships. That's it. So
Yeah,
that's my biggest lesson is always never ever get up. Get knocked down 9, get your ass up 10. And you
yeah.
will win no matter what.
I love that, man. I read a quote today, Ray. I want to share it with you. It's from Nick Saban. He
Oh,
said
no.
that success is not continuum. It's momentary. So what that means is that it's not like a continuum means that it just keeps going, right? It just rolls and rolls. It's moments. But the difference is that is what do you do in between the moments, right? And that's what you just said it right now. Is that keep going. You got to build the habits. You got to continue doing what you're doing, even though in the midst of the challenges, right? That's how you tackle challenges. But yeah, it's something like you said earlier, right? A lot of people talk, they come on like they want it, and they say the good things, and then once they're in it, they're like, oh. And
It's real.
when I did the
It's real.
interviews, you're gonna like this. When I did the interviews, and Ryan was one of them because Ryan interviewed with me, and I said, bro, I'm gonna tell you something. He goes, I love your excitement, I love your background. You did this much. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen here is you're gonna get your face kicked. And he's like, what did you say, Ryan?
Yeah, right, bro. I got this, bro. Give me 30, 60 days. You'll be talking different about me.
I never should. That was one of the things I never did. I never sugarcoated anything when we had people trying to join the team. And I said, yeah, you're going to lose yourself a little bit, but you're going to find yourself again, right? If you push through it, and even better, you're going to rebuild yourself. And that's kind of where you're at now, right? I think through all those struggles and all those trials. And like you said, there is no failure. There is no losing, just lessons, right? Learning. And so that all go, you move on from your teams, and now you got, I know, as we spoke last year at an event, you're now speaking on stages. You're going to speak again this year. How did that transpire? Because before we get into like what you're doing right now in your business, but where did that go? Where you were at as far as building the teams and all the struggle, and then to now speaking on stages, how did that transpire to that point? How did you get there?
Yeah, and plus you were afraid to talk to people or walk
Yeah,
into
bro,
an
you were afraid to
event.
knock on
Now
the
you're
door,
on
bro.
stage. I want to hear this.
And putting on events, by the way. We'll get into a little bit on that.
The true answer is I really got super heavy into personal development, like really, really heavy. Listen to Audible, reading, going to meetups, talking to everybody, kind of gathering around other people who are successful, and seeing what like success really looks like. Because I didn't know what success was. I didn't grow up with successful people, so it's foreign to me. So I had to get around people who were successful, who were doing things. And one thing I noticed about most people that they were speaking on stage. And there was a lot of deals that I was working on and helping people in the industry where a lot of people were like, yo, Ray, you got to talk about it. You got to get on stage. You got to tell your story. And I never would. There's a friend of mine. Her name is Farron. She put me on my first stage, and I killed it. Like absolutely, just
Of course,
everybody
man.
was like, wow, like just the triumph of that I've achieved. Like to me, it's nothing to me. Because I'm a
It's your
gladiator, I'm a
life.
warrior. So it's just
Yeah,
like this is my life. I run into a fight, and whether I take an L or not, it is what it is.
yeah,
But to everybody else, it was kind of like, wow, like
yeah.
that's insane. That's what started putting me on is that
Okay.
mind shift and having my first speaking event with her. And then a lot of people was like, yo, I heard your story, Ray. Man, we got to talk to you. Like, you got to get on another stage. And one thing led to another. I was speaking on one event to another till here I am
Yeah.
today.
That's amazing, man. That's one of the things when Ryan came and joined our team, I pushed him really hard, and like, bro, you have a story, man. Like, you have a story, you have passion. And that's the question I want to ask you. Do you believe that everybody has a story that they need to share?
Everybody does. I think that's the number one problem with people is I'll tell you this personally. I don't think I have a story,
Hmm.
right? Because my
Okay.
story is my story,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
right? So I was like, it's not a story; it's just Ray's life.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
So for most people, they're just like, I don't have a story. Everybody has a story, and everybody's story and perspective is totally different. So once you start putting it out there, people are just like, wow, okay,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's different. That and just because all our stories are different, man, makes us human beings.
Yeah.
That's what makes
Yeah.
us connect.
100%. And I was gonna say something about that. Oh, and you know what's even more amazing is when you share your life, because I know you don't like using the word story. When you share your life and you do it in a genuine way, you actually impact people. And what has that meant to you? Because I'm pretty sure, man, you probably had thousands and thousands, just like I get a lot of DMs and I've gotten through the past, and that's what keeps me going and motivates me. Share that with me. What does that feel like now? Because obviously your upbringing was, we're gonna call it a little rough, right? Things you went through and all that. But now people are looking at you. Where are you at right now mentally with that, and what you're seeing and how you're feeling about that?
Um, all transparency, bro. It's weird. It's foreign. To me, it's real.
It's hard to like grasp, right? Like, wow, like, oh man.
Yeah, because at some point I was the fan, right,
Hmm.
of other people,
Yep.
and then I have people who are fans of me, and it's such a different concept. Where I went to some event, and there's a few dudes there that were like, "Yo, it's Ray Spencer. Like, let's get a picture with you, right?" I'm just like, I'm not like a Jay-Z, but
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And it was just an odd feeling to me when I was taking the pictures, and I was like, this is just different. It's just a chance. But the stories that people hit me with is like, bro, you impacted me in such a good way. You helped me, get over my mindset. You helped me jump into cold calling. You helped me knock on doors, and that right there in itself is such a huge benefit to why I still do what I do. It's wood to me, to my fire. It fuels me.
Yeah.
Whereas like, half the times I don't even do it for me. I
Yeah.
do it for other people. That's what's
Yeah.
important. It's like getting on here doing lives, right? Having these events, right? I know you both understand that. It's like sometimes it's not even about you, right? Because you're already good, you're already set, right? You're doing it for other people, and sometimes they understand it, sometimes they don't. But you do it
Yeah.
for the ones who do, and for the
Yeah.
ones who do and catch the message. This is for you. Take it, run with it, and if we can all, help one person out, we did our job for the day.
Yeah. Quoting our friend Elijah Rubin, what is it? Reach one, teach one. What do you say?
Each one, each one, each one.
Yeah, he's definitely it's definitely true. I think I still, I'm not used to it either. Like I still sometimes I'm like, man, am I really like, I question myself, like what's going on here? Is this like, but I also have learned to say that, give credit to what credit is due, right? Like, hey, I was at an event a couple years ago, probably in 2018, and this guy, very successful guy, and he was talking about how he learned, and he learned from Sean Terry, and he talked about Sean Terry, and that's how I learned, right, back in 2015, and so he was checking out my social media, and that's when I started sharing my story even more and more, right? In 2018, I started getting more on social media, sharing our journey and our story, and he's like, man, he goes, I just don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if he was struggling with it. And what I told him that day, I said, look, you don't have to do it how everybody else does it. You just got to share your story. You're genuinely who you are. And he's like, yeah, but I don't know about this. And he was making these, throwing all these excuses out there. And I said, let me put it this way then. What if I said, can be the next Sean Terry for someone else that's coming up? And he's like, and he got really quiet. And he's like, man,
That's a
I didn't even
concept.
look. Yeah. He's like,
That's a
I never
concept.
really, yeah.
Uh,
He's like, I never really
yeah.
thought about it like that. I said, yeah, that's why you have success, and it sounds like you're a giver, man. Share your story, and he did, and he started. And I followed him, and he started to share his story more and more because we could be that next person. We are that we could be that next connection. We could be that next thing for that person coming behind us to make it to the next phase, right? So, but yeah, it's incredible. So then. Speaking on stages again, you're going to speak this year at a 10 Growth again. Man, if you have not heard Ray Spencer speak, you gotta go and hear his story. It's freaking amazing. Not only does he tell his story, he goes in detail, and he talks about how he learned how to do creative on his own, which we're gonna move into next. He's all his creative deals. So, were you always all this stuff that you shared right now, your story, the journey, the deals? Were you doing creative at this through all this that you just shared a little bit ago, or how did that come about? Where were you at on that?
I didn't start doing creative financing until the door knocking incident with the team.
Mm-hmm.
I got a job. I took a job with a buddy of mine named Armando. Shout out to Armando Monroy.
Okay.
Um,
Oh yeah.
I took a
Huh?
job. I took a job with my boy, right? And I was his lead acquisition guy, and I was reading these creative financing books at the same time, and I pitched it to two sellers. I just got on the phone and pitched it, right? Because he was like, I don't want to do cash, but he hit all the buttons for creative at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, would you do this? And he was like, well, yeah, I'd be interested in that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Pitched the whole deal to him. The guy had a huge 4-bedroom, 2-bath, Motor suite in Peoria with the golf course, little putt golf course in the back, jacuzzi, pool, right? And I brought it to everybody on the team, and they were all fighting over who was going to. All the owners of the company were fighting over who was going to keep it, right? They were like, "Oh, we can't keep this, we can't." Right? So I'm just like, "How do I get paid off this lead?"
Right.
And it took them about 3 months. And this thing was already in. It was hitting. It was pre foreclosure.
Mm.
So by the time they had figured out who was going to do what, it was already behind like 15 grand, and it just didn't work out for their motto for wholesaling.
Right.
And they let the deal go.
Oh.
And it happened not once, but it happened twice.
Wow. Okay.
On 2 deals. And I actually picked up the deals afterwards, and at the end of it, I was trying to save him. So I had an African dude who was going to move into the nice one, and he had assistant living that he was going to move into. But the seller ended up falling out. He actually got an offer on it and sold it. The other one was through an Indian guy who I didn't have any contracts with him. So I pitched all these terms and sold it to him, and he sent it to another company and told him like, "Hey, I got an offer for this," and they came in higher and snatched the deal up for me on my own terms.
Right.
That was kind of the beacon for me. I was like, okay, this creative stuff works, super super easy, and I started pitching these.
When was this, Ray? What year was this? Yeah, what year is this?
2019.
Jeez.
2019.
Jeez.
This was so I had some leads that came through. One came through for Kansas, and I talked to her and I pitched terms on her, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, put the 5 down. Let's go." Right. So I was like, all right. Flew out to Kansas, structured the deal, got all the paperwork. The title company actually ran all the paperwork and double checked everything for me. It was a contract for deed. Got everything, learned everything from them. From there, I put up some bandit signs in the area, and have been going back to Kansas for creative deals ever since. Missouri and Kansas since that point.
Nice. I think you shared that one on your story, right? I think you through Instagram. I remember that deal. That was like one of the first deals that you were showing that you had gotten creative. Yeah. Nice. So then from there, once you got the proof of concept, were you investing now? Did you go get a coach? Was it reading the books? What was the next thing that came about that got you more deeper into structuring these deals?
I thought about getting a coach. So there's 2 people I approached. That no one knows. I'll speak about here, Max, on here.
Oh yeah, let's go! Breaking news!
So there's 2 people I hit up, 3 actually. Alan Whitman was one. I think at this time, him and John, right? I was pitching to this, and they liked the way I was kind of moving and making deals. Another one was Pace Morby, who was starting to bring up the sub 2 group.
Yep.
And another one was a dude named Jeff Rappaport that I went to.
Okay.
And at some point, I said to hell with all 3 of them. And here's the reason why. The reason why is I didn't want to fill anybody's shoes.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't want to be them. I wanted to be me. Right. So I decided like I just can't take on their education because it would just be, and this is just my opinion, the way I do things.
Right. Yeah.
But I didn't want to give up my creativity, and I know creative financing is all about creativity, right? And it was the only reason I made that decision is if I took on their creativity, it would be theirs, right?
Right.
But if I took on my own, right, I can always think outside the box.
Yeah.
And I can always do things differently than the way they do things. And that was the reason I didn't take it, because each person in creative financing has just their structure. They have like, this is the way I do deals, right? But in creative,
so in essence, they are the creative structure, right? The individual. Yeah.
And each one is it's just their way. But I learned in creative financing, there's thousands.
There is no one way, right?
Yeah, there's no one way. And you can use, there's so many guys that I've met over the years. It's like, yeah, this is my thing. I do lease options. I met other people like, yeah, this is my thing. I do sub 2, right? And I just like, I want to be the guy who kind of plays with them all.
Yeah.
That's the guy I want to win. So I shifted from there and started reading I started to look for creative financing deals. And I started looking at how to get creative financing deals. There wasn't that much education, man, when I started looking out for for education online back in like 2019. There was nobody really doing it at all. So I started picking up tons of books.
Not even Pace, because Pace and us, we were doing a lot of deals. We were wholesaling a lot of deals with him. So he wasn't that
not at that point. It didn't really kick off. So I I did a whole bunch of research and found every book I can find on creative financing. Very tough to do. The only way I was able to accomplish this is because in prison, I used to get books by writing to the publishers. That's how I used to get books. I used to get free books this way. And I noticed that I would find books, but they were out of stock. So I would reach out to the publisher. And I read letters, and they sometimes send me free books, or sometimes I had to pay for them. And that's how I got like over 100 books on creative financing.
Damn.
That I've been diving in and collected over the years. That are just hidden gems. A lot of the old school guys that used to be crushing it, doing big stuff.
Yeah.
Some of them still around. There was a couple guys we met in Texas, remember?
Yeah. Robert Allen was there.
Right.
Yeah, his story is crazy. But yeah, there's definitely a couple guys that he mentioned as well too. That were doing this, the zero down or no money down or something like that. Um, so then you read all the books, and then are you at the same time you're reading the books, you're going out and implementing this stuff? What did that look like for you?
I read about 3 pages and I'm out my door.
Mm.
So I'm at that point because I'm so fed up, bro, with analyst paralysis. Like if I've met a person by the name of analyst paralysis, I'm gonna slap this. That's just where I'm at, right? Because I'm tired of analyst paralysis. It's been such a burden on my back that I don't even want to deal with it. Anything that has to do with that, I don't care for it because I
Yeah,
know there's two ways of learning. There's knowledge and then there's applied knowledge. The best way to learn is applied knowledge. That's the
yeah,
best way. You can go read and do everything you want, but what benefit does that do you if you don't do nothing with it,
I love it.
right?
Yeah, I always say you cannot improve upon a thing when you don't actually take you when you don't know when you don't take action on that thing, right? Like what are you going to improve upon? You know, there was a great philosopher, I don't know if you is. He said, I'm all about that action, boss. You know who he is?
Look at that.
Uh,
Ooh,
that was beast mode, bro.
yeah,
What's his name, right? I was just joking about the philosopher part.
yeah.
I'm all
What are you
about that
talking about?
action, boss.
Busta Rhymes? What are you talking
No,
about?
no, no, beast mode.
No,
No, the running back for the Seahawks. Remember?
Oh,
I'm
Um,
gotcha.
about the
I was
action.
thinking about his album.
no, no, no. Yeah, it's all about that action, boss.
Yeah,
So,
But
I got
but here's where I'm at. I'll go study something and I'll go run and do it. I always talk to attorneys. I always talk to title companies. I was actually in prison. I got my paralegal license, so I understand the law
what?
to a pretty good angle.
wow,
I was
Jeez.
a legal beagle in there, so I understand the law a whole bunch. That helped me out. Manuel, I see you, bro. We got some
yeah,
deals to work on.
yep, yep.
Um,
Manny's a good dude.
so right now, what I do is I get some stuff and I run and do it. Right now, I'm doing one. It's a crazy one. I do a lot of different crazy stuff that I make sure I practice it and I master it before I even put it out there. But I'm sick and tired of putting EMD down. So I ran into a strategy where I could take a promissory note
Mm-hmm.
um, and put a promissory note down
Mm-hmm.
as EMD.
Mm.
So now I have a few that have
What?
closed and I've bought with. I don't suggest this for anybody. Don't be trying this stuff out there, y'all. Um,
Really? Like it's complicated to do it? Is that what you're saying?
no,
Like risky
no,
or
no,
what?
We
no,
No.
no.
we've done that, Ray, with and I don't know if it's the same similar, but I'll let you explain that. Something we've done when we've had sellers that wanted us to release funds up front. So we've done that, but the only way we do it is first, obviously, title's got to be clear, and then the second thing is that we sign a deed of trust for the amount of whatever that is, right, and record it on a lien on the property. Yeah, and I don't know if that's the same, but if
That's
that's
different.
okay, got it, got it.
That's different. Yeah, that's you're putting a lien on it as a deed of a trust. That's another
Hmm.
way to do it. Well,
Yeah, okay.
now it's just a paper instrument of
Mm,
promissory note that I'm gonna put down 5K on this date.
okay,
I don't
right.
do it as a wholesaler. I do it as a buyer when I know I'm going to buy it 100%.
Oh, okay, got it,
Okay.
got it,
Okay.
got it.
All right. So I don't actually put up any money. It's just paper.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And then they get paid that money. When do they get paid that money? After it sells or after you refi? Okay,
after it sells. Yeah.
got it. Are you
Nice.
giving any interest on that or no?
No.
Nice, nice, nice,
It's
nice.
just straight in place of the EMD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of putting up 10, I've lost MD a few times. A few times I lost MD. Now I just set up that way. Even if I did lose my EMD doing it through this way, I would just make payments instead of giving you $5,000 up front.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about creative, right? Like you're saying, there's many ways to do it. There's no one way. That's why it's called creative. So, who is your right now? Who has been your favorite out of all the books you read? Like your top one or two favorites that you like? How they explain creative?
Hold on, I gotta
Um,
write this down. Go
oh,
ahead.
so I got a real estate. It's called the real estate manual. It's $1,000 book.
Mm,
Boring. A lot of citations, a lot of legal mumbo jumbo. Like everything on creative is it's dry. Absolute. No one does creative financing and makes it entertaining.
did you say the real estate manual?
Yeah.
$1,000. Damn.
You know what? You know what's interesting about that, Ray? I want you to expand on that a little bit because you remember, well, Cash Money Mike, right? I introduced you to him at the Wholesale Sharks event, and
Yeah.
I asked him the same question, like who are your mentors, and he said it was attorneys. That's who he learned from, and you just said that about the about what you just said. Expand on just a little bit. It's a lot of legal jargon, a lot of and talking to him, asking him who was his mentor. My mentors were all attorneys and paralegals and people that were always in the legal business. That's why I learned how to do most of my creative stuff.
So I'll give you guys the history of creative financing. I won't give you a whole detailed history, but
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah.
the history of creative financing was based upon banks and attorneys,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those are the only people who were doing creative financing back in the day. That's who started it. It was attorneys because they had to figure out how to dance through a couple of loopholes that
Yep.
banks were not willing to do because way back when interest rates were like 18, 20, right? No one could really buy. So everybody had to get creative back in the 60s and 70s
Right.
to actually buy some stuff. So a lot of them are just attorneys. If you read books, they're going to be written from an attorney. Most of your creative financings are from attorneys. They're boring.
Got it.
They're not interesting. There's a dude on YouTube I found very interesting. His name is Clint Coons,
Okay.
right? Breaks down the legal aspect of it. Very, very good. And I use that because he goes over taxes and what's the benefit to people from doing a lease option or not doing an option. And when you start explaining that to sellers, oh man, life is easy. Pitching it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Structuring it is easy when you really
Yeah.
understand creative financing to a T.
Yeah.
Hey,
Makes sense.
Ray, real quick, just to get a little bit of perspective here. When you start like reading those types of books for someone who's doesn't have your background, like at some point, do those books start to kind of make sense? You know what I mean? Because of how they're written, how dry they are. No.
Nope. I give you two books. There's an auto series. It's called the Real Estate series. The author is named Peter Kunti. It's probably the easiest book you can read. He has 3 series of it. One is the Zero Down series. It is the easiest book you will ever read. It breaks it down. It gives you contracts on
Nice.
the full process, and it tells you how to find leads, how to do it. It's probably the easiest book I ever read on the process. Anything else, good luck. If you don't have a legal background, good luck.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm working on making it fun. So I'm working on putting some stuff out there for everything I'm putting out where everybody can understand a lot of the creative strategies in a simpler method.
Yeah. I love that, man. You need to, bro. I think the community needs it. I think there's the one thing I see a lot of times, like, going back to your original or going back to what you said earlier about everybody presents a different but I don't think anybody presents in a way where it's like simple, right? It's complicated through storytelling, not the integral parts, right? Some people only like to stick to one strategy, like you said. A lot of people talk about just seller finance or just lease options or just subject to, right? And so, but there's many ways. Cherie has a question for you. She wants to know, how do you service your creative deals?
I service my creative deal through servicing companies. So here in Phoenix, I use Weststar. I also have a attorney, Sean St. Clair is one of my attorneys that I use.
Shout out
here
Sean
in
St. Clair.
Phoenix. When I'm out of state and doing creative financing, all mine are through the title companies or through attorneys. They service them.
Got it. Okay. Awesome, man. I wanted to ask you this because we talked about how now we know how you learned, obviously, in the process of what you went through. What has been your biggest benefactor from really diving into this? Like, how's that changed your business? Because I know that you were already been doing this before this market shift, and it became popular to talk about it. What's the benefactor from shifting this way? Obviously, it positioned you now because you're not actually switching; you're actually in the game now. What has been that big benefactor for you switching this way?
Okay. Here's what benefits me, right? Max, don't take this as a shot.
No, you're good. You're good.
At all. I don't negotiate deals.
Yeah.
I look at deals now. When you understand creative financing to a certain magnitude or a certain level, I look at it this way. There's a lot of people who preach, teach all of it, wholesaling, whatever.
Yeah.
I look at it as trying to squeeze a circle in a square peg, right,
Yeah.
or square hole, right. So a lot of
Yep.
us is like wholesale, wholesale,
Yep.
wholesale,
Right.
right?
Right.
Negotiate, strategy.
Yep.
It shouldn't be that way. It can, and you could squeeze it through. But there's a lot of levers that you can pull if you talk to sellers, and it's like you just fit in this category. You fell through this
Yeah.
category.
Right.
And when you listen to people and you hear what they want to do, they'll tell you if they want a cash offer. They'll tell you
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
they want creative. They'll tell you if they want something long term, short term.
Yep.
They'll give you all these answers if you ask the right questions.
Right.
But most people just don't know how to ask the right questions and get that information out. I don't negotiate as of this point. That's my benefit right now. I don't negotiate. I listen. I talk to people. What do you need? What are you looking for? Here's your strategy. This is what you need.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I'm actually a big believer in that. I don't, I have a saying called be a sifter, not a convincer, right? Don't get in convincing mode, sift mode. Most people don't understand that concept. Like just because you have a list that says pre-foreclosure, or because you have a list that says, tax lien, and they think that that's motivation and that's going to get them a deal. In reality, that's just a situation. You still got to talk to people, figure out what's going on, and so and that's kind of the approach that I take, because and I move on. I'm the same way, right? I don't sit there and try to convince anyone of anything.
Quick.
What's that?
I said you real quick, bro. I hear you. You be like, okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that has benefited me as well. And I guess my question for you was as far as the success you had now, because now you don't negotiate, right? You look at the deal, and if it makes sense, if it fits what you're currently doing. What's your business look like now? I mean, what obviously we talked a little bit behind stage or backstage about this, is because you're using creative and you're actually flipping houses now, correct? Talk a little bit about that process and how you started that and where you're at now with that business.
So there's two things I do. I don't like to share it, but I'll share it with you, Max. I'll share it with you, Joe, because I love you.
Bro, in Club Collab, secrets get shared. I mean, you're not the only one. Ask Ryan.
All right. So what I do currently right now is I do novations.
Okay.
I don't put it out there. A lot of people don't think I do novations. I'm very heavy on novations.
Okay.
The reason why I do novations because I can take over an entire neighborhood in this current market. What I say by that is I partner with people who can't move deals right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. They're sitting on the market for a long time. I can do some research. I can use Zillow and tell when you bought it. Right.
Yeah.
Back in March. Hard money. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been sitting on the market. You ain't putting no money in it because you're nervous. And you're trying to fire sell it and dump it right now. Right. But that hard money is kicking your ass.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So these I know, and I see them, and I look at them, and I analyze them. I give them a call. Hey, bro, where you at? What are you trying to do? Right. They're always willing. Like, look, if you put the money in, Ray, we'll get it sold. And I put very minimum in it. I make the house look very sexy. We're talking paint, carpet, and I stage it. I put it on the market. And when my property sells, not mine, ours, when we sell as a joint venture innovation, I'm talking to the entire neighborhood who has been sitting on the market for 60 days or more. And I'm letting them know, hey, my spot just closed in about 2 weeks, right? Let me show you my business model and how I can help and we can partner together.
Oh, I love that. This is a conversation you're having with the sellers, right? When you visit them?
Agents and sellers.
Oh, agents and sellers. Okay, got it.
So I use this strategy just to dominate the whole, like I'll do one in the neighborhood if somebody is flipping. I'll help them out and they're like, thank you. Now I go talk to actual sellers, right, for an equity split on proceeds. It's better when I do it with a seller than I do with a flipper or potential flipper because the numbers are not there.
Right.
And sometimes I don't even make that much. I might make like $3,000 to $5,000 doing an ovation, right? But I use that strategy to go talk to everybody else. Here's the house. Here's what we did. If you partner with me, your house needs some major rehab. I'll put up $10,000, flip it, right? We'll split the proceeds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the idea is not to if you get an opportunity, you look at it as how many more opportunities can I get from this one? It's not what am I making. It makes sense.
That's one I do. The other ones I do are creative financing. I do a lot of wraparounds.
Okay.
I do a lot of lease options currently in this market. Some of the deals I'll buy through local wholesalers on market at a certain amount. and I'll just do a wraparound and just keep a long-term.
Yeah, you're selling them on a wrap. The deals. Okay. Are you finding your own? Are you finding your own buyers?
I have my own buyers. Yeah.
Okay. I need to talk to you. We have 2 deals that came across our table this week that they're interested in selling, and they're willing to sell them on a wrap to end buyer. So we need to talk.
I'll let me drop something on you.
Sure.
So everybody can share it and talk about it. I go B2B, bro. Most people don't understand that. Is I don't go. So here's what most people do, and I try to do anything other than whatever everybody else is. If everybody's jumping off the bridge, Ray is not.
Yeah.
If everybody is not jumping off the bridge, Ray is probably jumping off the bridge. That's how I am as a person. So a lot of people look at Facebook and using strategies from all the gurus in town to trying to find end buyers. I don't do that, and because I'm partially bilingual. Is I talk to people B2B, they're business owners, and that's where I find my buyers at. I don't do Facebook, I don't do Craigslist. I go door to door. I talk to people on Yantera shops, barber shops, cash-based type of people, right? Those are my buyers, and they put down far more than anybody in this industry is getting right now.
Yeah. No, I love that because why? They have the large down payment. They have the large down payment, and they got the money to continue making the payment. And they're very loyal, so I totally get that. And then you're flipping a lot, right? What's up with that, man? You're not supposed to be flipping in this market, bro. What's going on?
Yeah, the reason why I just picked up two. One today and one yesterday. I just picked up. I'm flipping more. The reason why I'm flipping more properties in this market is because I understand the market. So if you understand where the market is, the game is always to buy low, sell high.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game.
It's always, yeah. Yep.
Don't care where the market is, buy low, sell high. As long as you know your numbers, and there's a lot of wholesalers out here that don't know their numbers. No. And as long as you know your numbers, that you still can wholesale right now and still make good money, right? You just need to know where your numbers need to be at. You can still flip right now, still make good money. You just know where your numbers need to be at. And for anybody in the areas where I flip in, I give you the best product. I'm throwing in stuff that most people in the area are not throwing in, right? You get in the kitchen sink and the fridge and the stove, plus the furniture. If you want to keep the furniture, you can have that too. I just build it in. The house feels good, smells good, looks sexy, and I'm underneath everybody's house in the area. And I'm not trying to make any more than 20,000, 30,000. My stuff sells quick out the door. That's the game that I'm playing.
Got it. I love that. Rashawn wants to know how big is your team right now, and what are some key performing indicators you look at?
My team right now is a group of my single family team is just me and one business partner. That's it. I do my own lead generation from Zillow and the MLS as a solo person. My team on my multifamily is 6 guys. Different KPIs on both sides. Our KPIs on the multifamily is as far as leads, each guy just brings a lead in a day on the multifamily, whether we buy it or we wholesale it. The multifamily number is a little bit different. So it's only one deal 1 month is insane.
Yeah.
For the KPIs on my single family, just because it's just me and a business partner, 1 or 2 deals a month, bro, is good. I'm shooting cash flow of $500 a month. I have a progressive goal of trying to get to 20,000 per month. That's it. I'm just slowly picking up 1 or 2 deals here and there, not worrying about anybody else or what everybody else is going. It's just my own.
I love it. And then you're very hands-on too, bro. I love that. That's something that I'm still like that. Like I itch, like I'm very hands-on, and Ryan's always asking me for my tools. I'm like, bro, go to Harbor Freight at least, bro. Go get you a screwdriver.
Let me tell you why I do that. Let me throw that to you, Mac, why I do that. Right?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
One day I was working on the roof, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this crap working on the roof. But an idea hit me is no one knows what I'm doing. Right. So here I am slaving on the roof, but no one knows what I'm doing. Right. Mm-hmm. Except for the community. Everybody in the area. Right. Everybody sees me on the roof. Just no one knows who the hell I am. So I started to switch that and I turned it into some branding to the neighborhood. So I use that in my branding. I take pictures, I take video, I push that around the neighborhood of like, yeah, that guy you see on the roof, right, selling a house, and he's selling on creative financing, right? So I do flyers that I put out. I don't tell anybody this. I do flyers that I put out that's called Pick Your Own Neighbor, and I allow the neighborhood to pick your own neighbor.
What?
Don't be dropping my gems. There's too many gems in here.
Everyone that's still on here, you got to drop some fire emojis. Man, Ray's been.
I'm gonna watch this like 10 times as soon as this is done rendering because my head's blown up.
Yeah, drop some fire emojis,
Ray.
some thumbs up, some gems.
What?
I mean, he's dropping some. He's creative, bro. Come on.
Yes.
Come on now.
Oh, made my brain hurt. Jeez.
Cherie says grassroots marketing. I love it. Manuel says, I have an end buyer looking for a North Phoenix property. There we go. Maybe one of those that I got, or you, Ray, if you have one for him.
Run it.
And run it. Average timeline and margin for innovation. I think you talked about the margin. But what's your average timeline right now?
My average timeline on innovation is 30 days.
Wow, that's fast, bro.
On innovation. It has to be the right deal, and it has to be the right rehab, and it has to be the right turnover. And a lot of innovations I'm already doing because I'm already shopping my buyers like day one. Right. I'm already putting on my product. When I do houses, I paint the house first, and I put a sexy door on my company's color door, right? And I promote that in the neighborhood first. Okay. So I shop my buyers before I rehab it. And I let everybody just see the outside, and I do a coming soon. And I also do pocket listings with agents of like, hey, this is coming up. This is what it looks like. Get your buyers ready. So my process is quick and fast when I do it.
Very proactive, man. Manuel says, and we keep our cash in the mattress.
I know.
I know you do, bro. Gerald says, underwriting practices. I would love to know how to implement underwriting deals into my daily schedule. Thank you. What are some things that he can start doing to learn how to underwrite deals?
So the craziest thing is for most people, especially in creative financing, there's two things they're trying to understand: how to pitch it, how to underwrite it. Yep. Right. People who are trying to pitch it, suck at underwriting. People trying to underwrite, suck at pitching it. There's a lot of people in the community that kind of team up for doing both. I underwrite and I pitch my own deals at the same time. For the underwriting phase, my suggestion to you is to practice, bro. Practice your ass off for underwriting. Even if it's a deal that doesn't make sense, you want to start going to the phase of underwriting, and you want to study as much as you can about underwriting, because the moment you do, it clicks. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ray.
And I do the napkin. So I got one right there. Napkin math.
I love it.
That's how I do it. Still to this day, I still do the napkin and kind of jot it out. That way I can understand it. And I like to use my hand because it helps my brain understand it when I can hear it, see it, and write it.
I still, when the guy set up a seller finance or creative call for me, I still write everything out too. I write it out just so I can visualize it. And then, because, that's my part. Like, I can pitch it. I can have a conversation about it. But when it comes to underwriting, you just made that point earlier. I suck at it. So I got to make sure that I have it all written out before I talk to them. So, and again, to your point about practicing is, you should be pitching creative to every person you talk to, as a matter of fact, right? Look at every deal. And I'm not saying like to try to convince them to practice, because it's not going to fit everybody, right? It's not a solution for everybody. But if you want to, go ahead.
I'll give you this. Yes, a lot of people don't pitch it, and right now it's insane if you're not doing creative first and everything second. At least as a pitch, you should be pitching that. But here's a neat conversation. I spoke about it before. I'll speak about it here. As I was talking to a wholesaler, brought me a deal, and he wanted me to close on it in like 3 days. And I was like, this is my area. Why did you not call me? Right? Why did you not call me? This is my area, bro. And he's like, oh, I was trying to, Ray, I know where you're at in your numbers, and I was trying to get higher. And I get it. Cool. But 3 days is tough, bro. Can you get an extension? He's like, can't get an extension. You need to close on it 3 days. And he's like, if you close on it, I'll just take a $3,000 fee. That's it. I was like, well, why? Okay, let's run a scenario. What happens if I don't close on this deal? What's the seller going to do? And he said, I don't know. He went to go back, talk to the seller, came back. He said, the seller says if he don't sell at this number, he's going to rent it out. I said, oh, come on, bro. Okay, Perfect. Check it out.
There's the green light right there, baby.
I was like, come on. Okay. What's he going to rent it out for? right? And he gave me a number. He's like $1,000. Okay, so you're at 180. You're trying to wholesale it to me at 183 and make $3,000. Okay, check it out. Go back to the seller. All right. Tell him if he would rent it out to you exclusively, you'll give him an extra $5,000. Right? You can add it to the purchase price, or you can give him $5,000 up front. Okay. I was like, lock him in 1,000, do it 6 months to a year.
Yep.
Right. And get it over to me. Right. And I'll pay you $10,000. Right. And he just couldn't wrap it around in his mind. Like, I was like, look, check it out. Okay. If you got this, look, what am I going to do with this deal when I get it? I'm going to go to my hard money lender. I'm going to put $30,000 down. My payments at this price are going to be about $1,400. You just saved me $400. You saved me an extra $5,000-10,000 I got to put through hard money. I don't have any interest payments, right? You as a wholesaler and the seller are now my hard money lender.
Yep.
Right. I just secretly turned you into a hard money lender, and I would be happy to pay you $15,000 because you just saved me putting 2025.
Yeah.
And I'm going to flip it in 6 months anyway with my hard money lender.
Yep.
Get me the deal, bro.
Yep.
Give me the deal. And he just couldn't wrap it around his mind. He was like, nah, you got to close on it in 3 days.
Wait, what?
Yeah, bro. It was, I was like, I explained it to him, and it just, most people just can't understand creative because it's like, bro, you're creatively being my hard money lender. And he was like, that'll make sense. Just give me the $3,000.
Oh my gosh.
You could have made 10. I would have paid you 10-15 grand more just to create some terms. He was like, they won't take terms. You haven't pitched it. How do you know?
haven't asked them. Yeah.
So
Steven will take it. He said that's money.
Jeez, dude.
Awesome, brother. I know we're coming over the hour here. One thing I want to bring up because through your story and all this and the things that you've done, and you've actually bought your personal residence recently, right? I want you to share that, man, because I think I can only imagine what you felt. And tell us about that experience, brother. And you got it on creative. Tell us about that. You don't think I'm watching, bro? I'm watching you, Ray. If you mess up, bro, I'm coming for you.
Man, this was a deal that an agent. I spoke about creative financing at this event. I was teaching all ladies how to do creative financing, agents, and I do most of my business through agents. Those are my bird dogs on a whole different level. She sent me. There was a luxury agent. She was like, "Hey, Ray, do you do luxury?" And I was like, "Not really. I'm like in the hood, 600 below type of guy." Right. I was like, I don't really do that. And I don't really need any buyers for that at the same time. She was like, just look at the deal. She sent me one. And she was like, look at it. And I work late. I'm in my office. Everybody knows I work in my office. Late hours, every day, grinding, looking for deals. She had called me at like about 9 o'clock and was like, Ray, have you looked at that deal yet? I said, no, I haven't. I'm sorry. And she said, they're willing to take creative financing. I was like, okay. What do they want? What are they looking for? She said, look, they just want to get out the maintenance. I said, what do you mean? Just get out the maintenance. She was like, well, it's a mansion. It's a big house. It's a lot of maintenance on this property. They don't want to continue having the maintenance. I was like, okay, I'll look at it. So I went to go look at it that night. And I walked the house and I was like, yo, okay. Now we're on to something. So I was like, what's the payments? What's the mortgage? What's this? It's free and clear. She doesn't want the maintenance. All right. I was like, get me on the phone call with these people. I got on the phone, talked to the lady, super cool. Really emotional because she did majority of the work in the house and she was asking for a lot on the property. There's 1.2 mil. Houses in the area about 1.1 mil in the area. So I was like, look, if we structure it, we do terms, I take over your maintenance, right? I'm going to give you this amount every month. Okay, were you willing to do that? I'm going to do it over a period of 50 years. 0% interest. And I explained to her like why she would do 0% interest. And if she got paid for that, she would pay taxes on it. She didn't want none of that.
Yeah.
If I put a down payment on it, she's going to pay taxes on it. And she was like, no, I don't want that. I just want to get rid of the liability and the burden.
Wow.
And leave it to my kids. And I was like, boom, 50 years, let's go. 0 down, 0 interest on a $1.2 million mansion. And I'm moving in next month in February.
Jeez, bro. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. Yeah, let's go. Amazing, bro.
Let me throw this. It's such a big ass house. I live in a townhouse. It's such a big ass house that I got like my mind kicked in when I had to meet them and really sign the deal and do it all over. My mind was fucking with me, right? It was messing with me and saying like, you're not worthy. Like you're an ex-con, bro. Stop it.
What?
Dang.
my whole
That came
mind was
back
just
up,
mess.
huh?
It was messing with me. Like, come on, this is a big house. Like, you can't afford this big old house. It's like you can't live here. You can't move in this area. And I was like, shut up.
Amen.
And it's such a beautiful thing. Just taking my family over there to go look at it, and it's like, you structure what on what? How? I was like, oh, here it is. And I was like, yo, you found another one. Get me one.
You better invite me to the barbecue, bro, too.
Damn, bro. Oh, Ray.
Amazing, bro. Congratulations, man. But I love
I love
I
awesome
get
stories,
excited,
man.
man.
Good
It's freaking
stories.
amazing. So you guys move in next month, you said?
Next month, after the event in Texas, we're gonna move in. We'll move into the house and
Nice,
enjoy
bro.
this big ass house, man.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. You deserve it, bro. We're gonna answer one more question and then we'll start wrapping it up. So let's see. Rashawn said, is it advantageous to buy seller finance or sub two for your flips? Seller finance, I'd imagine, because of principal outlay. And then he's got a follow-up. Or seller finance compared to innovation for same flip question.
Oh, Rashawn asked me a good question. I like the good shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me make this brief. A lot of people don't understand seller financing to a degree. Okay. Seller financing has two different strategies. There's an entry strategy, there's an exit strategy, right? They don't all have to apply, right? Best thing I could do is give you an example as a practice that I've done. Never buy sub two, exit on the sub two. Okay. Right. Enter on the sub two, exit on the option. Right. So each strategy has a specific way of getting into it and getting out of it. That most people don't understand it till you get more experience in creative financing. I go seller financing or I go sub two. It depends on the person. It depends on the deal. I don't force deals and try to say, they got to go into seller financing or they got to go into sub two. If it's paid off already, they already have seller financing options or if it's sub two, that means they got a mortgage. So I can't force it either or. I just have to deal with what the cards are dealing with me and do it that way.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. It's if there's you're right. It's black and white. If there's a mortgage, then it's got to be sub two, right? It could be a little bit of combination, which like a hybrid, like maybe they owe a percentage, and that requires maybe a second note that's going to be seller finance, right, through the owner. So that could be.
I'm reading the question. Let me ask this a little bit more direct.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's advantages to two sides. Okay, seller financing, I would probably keep it if it's seller financing. Okay, I wouldn't try to flip it. But your sub two model that you mentioned, I'd either try to keep it, do a wrap. But there's ways to do sub two deals and flip them, because now you are now the owner of the property on title, and now you can actually put it back on the market. That is the benefit of for a sub two. So sub twos, I will probably go for a sub two with a flip if I don't plan on keeping it. Seller financing, I don't structure seller financing and try to flip it. I structure seller financing
keep
and try
it.
to keep it.
Yeah. What do you prefer? Do you prefer you're okay with both, or do you prefer one over the other?
I don't have a preference. Only thing I have a preference is I love novations or joint ventures, especially on land. One day, Max, Ryan will talk about novations on land and how killer they are for just.
Oh, nice.
I got so many acres that I own, bro, for putting in no money. I just got it.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. Yeah, we definitely have to talk about that. Man, this has been amazing. Everyone drop some fire emojis, some thumbs up. Ray, I really appreciate you, brother, for hanging out with us and, not only hanging out with us, but sharing some gems and some things that you probably haven't really talked about out in the open. I can't wait till you put something together, bro. I think you should. I'm going to encourage you and I'm going to challenge you to put something together for the people. No, seriously, man, I think people would benefit from it. And there's ways you can do it, right? You can genuinely do certain things the right way, right? That serves a purpose and it fits you, who you are, right? It doesn't have to fit any other mold. But I definitely would challenge you to put something together. I know it's easier said than done. That's like a never ending freaking project, but I still put things together so I can put out to the people. So, but man, amazing. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, Ray, how can they do it? How can they reach out to you and say, I want to collaborate, I want to JV, I got some deals I want you to look at? How can they do that?
I would say that I used to give out my phone number. It's still out there. You can find it. Call me. if you can find it. I won't give it out anymore because I got too many calls and too many texts. But Instagram at Ray underscore Spencer underscore the banker. You
Ooh,
can
I
find
like
me. I'll
that.
hit me up in my inbox. There's another account on there. So mine is
Yeah.
the emoji, or what's it called? The avatar. Mine's
Yeah.
the
Is it?
avatar.
You said Ray underscore Spencer underscore the banker.
Banker.
All right. There's nothing else. Just 2 underscores.
Yep,
I think. Hopefully, I did this right, bro. Hopefully, I
right
didn't
there.
butcher this. Is that it?
That's it.
Nice. Okay, there you go. So they can DM you and send you a message there.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on all your platforms as Ray Spencer. You
Appreciate
guys
it,
can
man.
always hit me up and reach out to me.
Heck yeah, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the nuggets. What we're gonna do is what I like to do at the end of the show is I want you to think of something, for somebody out there that was on tonight or somebody that's watching on the replay, because they're gonna get to watch this over and over. Give them a word, something positive, right? That that potentially if they're struggling right now with everything that's changing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring you off for a little bit. We're going to close it up with you on the back end of that, and think about something you want to say to the people, and I'll bring you right back on. Okay, Ray?
All right.
Awesome. Boom, man. Ryan, what you think about that, bro?
Bro, every time, like, you already know, bro. You already know what he did to me. You already know. Shuts me down a little bit because all I was do is my head's just thinking like all the stuff he just dropped, and plus it challenges me because that's another thing. I get challenged by hearing like all these good things other people doing, and I know it comes in time, but it fires me up, man. You know what I mean? It fires me up to see and to hear the great things that people are doing, what they persevered through, and just have a good story, bro. And Ray, like I said, I didn't know his story. He's one of the few that everyone's here locally. We hear everyone's story a million times. We go to so many meetups. I've never heard his story until now, and I'm still like in awe. Like, holy smokes, man! So
No, it's
really
amazing,
cool.
man. It's amazing. I think it's what his what he went through, like, even though we all have those mental challenges and he's got those as well, right? But
Well,
you
it's
got
good to hear that, though,
yeah,
right? Like to hear that at that level, like other, like
yeah,
not just for us, but other people that listen to the show need to hear that.
100%, man.
That everyone battles that type of stuff. It's just pushing through it.
Yeah, just pushing through it,
Yeah.
making this. One thing I took away was making the decision. You got to make the decision. Yeah,
He said that quite a bit, a few times. I felt like, or that's how he kind of describes
yeah,
his way of things. Like
yeah.
he makes a decision in his head and then it's done. He runs with it. No, going
Definitely
back.
one I'm gonna rewatch. I can tell you that right now.
Oh,
So
big time, bro. Oh my gosh.
I want to, before we bring them back, just really quick reminder, Ryan, you want to remind people how they can get a hold of you if they're, we're trying to, add 2 more members to our team.
Yes, please. We are trying to add two again, awesome people to our team. If you or anybody that would be a great fit, go to my profile on IG. Please click on the link in my bio link tree. There is a way to apply directly from that link, or you can just message me directly. Again, if you want to talk about it first, let's definitely talk. Open to connecting and you know what I mean, talking about whatever questions you may have. But we are looking for people right now. We are growing in multiple markets. We have more leads. I'm telling you, this is not a lie. More leads than we can actually handle right now. So we need more people like fast. So anyways, reach out to me.
And then January 28th, don't forget the Dealmaker Summit. I'll be speaking out there. So if you're in the LA area, you're watching from LA, I know there's some of you that actually come on. And before I bring Ray back on, I just want to remind you, tune in next week. We have another special guest. This year, we're jam-packed. We're booked all the way to the end of February. And what a way to actually kick off this year, bro, with this second episode, man. Amazing.
Third.
Yeah. And we're going to bring Ray back to leave some word of encouragement. Yeah, this is the second one.
Yeah,
so that way he can speak to the people. Ray, let me know if you're ready, bro. Let me know if you're ready. That way we'll bring you back on. And here he is. Let's bring him on. Go ahead, brother.
I'm ready. Okay, so the last thing I'll leave everybody is there is no shortcut to success. I don't care what your background is, what your story is, what your journey is. I honestly don't care if you hire a coach or don't. There is no shortcut to success. And as long as you stay at it and stick at it, you'll always win.
Boom. Enough said. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night. Appreciate every single one of you for tuning